Michael Cowan. I am the new Georgia program director here. Appreciate y'all having me. FullCircle is a 501c3 out of Forsyth County. We're a nonprofit that offers 12-step meetings and social functions. We primarily deal with ages 13 to 25. So we're, pretty much anybody that's struggling with any type of destructive behavior. So we have a wide variety of issues here. So, if it's anxiety, depression, self-harm, suicidal ideation, pornography, substance abuse, we're a blanket for any type of destructive behavior. So we do those two 12-step meetings Monday and Wednesday. What that looks like is from about 7 to 8 p.m. on those nights, we'll do a meeting, and then we'll socialize from about 8 to 10 p.m. Our facility is called the shop, so I usually forget to mention that, and it's my lingo. So we do that here at our shop, and our shop is fully decked out. We got the Forsyth County project last year from Leadership Forsyth, and they came and gave us an amazing sound system, lights, stage, help build an office. So we'll do coffee is what we call it after the meetings, where we'll hang out and socialize. And so we have cornhole, spike ball, guitar hero, ping pong, foosball. I mean, we have it all here. It's supposed to be a fun, safe place for kids that are struggling to come. So that's typically what a Monday and Wednesday looks like. We'll break off into those group meetings for that first hour, and then we'll hang out and have fun and socialize. Friday and Saturday night, we do social functions. The idea is to have the best and funnest place for a teenager and young adult to be on a Friday and Saturday night. That way they're not going back into those same environments that they were in before. So to put that into perspective, one of my favorite functions that we do is it's called fly swatter hockey. So we'll completely deck out the shop and convert it to an arena, and you get a fly swatter and a ping pong ball, and you play hockey. And those kids, I mean, they eat it up. It's one of the funnest functions ever. So whenever I announce, hey, we're doing that Friday night, everyone loses it. So that kind of encapsulates what those nights look like. Coming in to the program, we ask for parent involvement. So for a lot of the adolescents, that's a requirement. For the adults, it's a requirement too, because sometimes a lot of the families need more help than the kid. And we've noticed that if we're working on the kid, but they're going home and going into those same environments, it's counterintuitive to what we're trying to do. So we do, let me backtrack a little bit. So coming into the program, we ask for a 90-day commitment, and that's committing to come to all meetings and functions and meeting with myself once a week, with the parent meeting with me as well. And then the parent there's a parent meeting in addition to the individual meeting. They do a group parent meeting Monday nights from 7 to 8 p.m. So, we're a cost-free program. The only cost for our services is our social functions, and that's at cost for supplies. So say we go bowling, we'll get a group rate, it'll be like $9 to go bowling. They got to pay for that. So I try and keep that around $15 a weekend. So that's the only cost for our services. Our facility is open Monday through Friday from about 10 a.m. to, I'm still here. Yeah, so 7 p.m. some days. On those meeting and function nights, it's 10. So 10 to 10, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then about 10 to 6, 10 to 7 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So a lot of the kids will just come right over after school, or, some of the older kids will come after work and hang out. So for a lot of them, this is their second home. For some of them, it's their first home. So a typical day, and it is a longer term program. So just after that 90-day commitment, they have access to the program for up to 2 to 3 years. So we're currently servicing 70 young people and families, and we opened our doors in September of 2020. So in the height of lockdown and COVID, we opened our doors, and part of our 5-year goal was to expand our capacity and get a bigger facility and more staff members. With some of the recent changes with Victoria and Darren, our 2 staff members moving to Cincinnati. We just hired 2 more full-time staff members. We have a female counselor. She's 21. She got sober in FullCircle, Arizona. And then another one who's 19. He's male. He got sober in FullCircle, Denver. So what's really, really cool is our staff is in long-term recovery. I'm in long-term recovery myself. I showed up to FullCircle, Arizona, and I showed up with a duffel bag of clothes, and I was at the time addicted to fentanyl, and I had nowhere else to turn, and they gave me a full scholarship to go into treatment. So as soon as I was personally able to get my feet under me and get some traction in my recovery, that's where my love of what all of this really started. So I used to volunteer out in Phoenix and help out wherever I could out there before I can start to work towards my certifications. And so I came out here to help kind of launch this branch. And so I've been able to help Victoria kind of get this off the ground. And, it was always my goal to be in this role, and God opened that door for me. So I just started the director role as of December 1st, 2021. And back to kind of expanding our capacity. Like I said, that was part of the 5-year goals, and we're currently looking to expand our capacity now. There's a for sure need, especially here in Forsyth, for our services. So like I said, we're currently servicing 70. In these past 2 weeks, I've gotten over 15 new families reach out to me. And, we're looking, our current space is about 25 to 3,000 square feet. And so it's not the biggest of spaces. So that's on my docket, is to expand our capacity, get a bigger building. And I'm looking to add 1 more staff member. So that's kind of what we are in a nutshell. And what's really cool is during this time right now, since we opened in September of 2020, we're kind of right at the cusp of all these kids getting a year sober. So majority of our meetings will do these, it's like a special ceremony where they'll choose some of their peers to go and present what we call a year fist. It's like a chip system. If you think of AA, if you're familiar with it at all, it's similar to that. It's like our own version of chip systems. So they'll choose 3 peers to go up and talk about, them and their journey. And so that's a really cool mark we're at right now, is a lot of the kids that were first coming in when we kind of opened our doors are getting a year sober and wanting to give back, and are in these different service roles. And it kind of goes into our whole model is peer to peer, and these kids aren't just hearing it from me, which I'm a young adult in recovery, and they're hearing it from their peers that are also 16, 17 years old, that have actually gotten some traction in their life and are wanting to give some of that back. So that's been really, really cool to be a part of, is seeing all these kids that came in are getting a year sober. Let's see. I always speak really fast and kind of forget what I've touched on. But yeah, I mean, it's something really special to be a part of. And if you don't mind, I would love to show you all that video that kind of encapsulates what it is. 'Cause I know I kind of touched on it, was, it's supposed to be the best place to be on a Friday, Saturday night. So this video kind of shows a couple different things. So that the fist that I was talking about. So at 30 days, they get what's called a monkey fist, and sailors use that as the first thing to hit dry land or new land. So that's kind of what it is symbolic for. So you get one at 30 days, and you choose 1 peer to go up and talk about you in front of everybody, and it's emotional and big hugs. And then there's those year fists where it's the same thing, but it has 365 knots in it for each day that you've been able to be sober, or away from self-harm or eating disorders or whatever your destructive behavior is. So there's that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and try and share this. Share screen. Let's see. I'm going to cancel that. Dun, 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 dun. Pretty stubborn on me, huh? Let's see. Wrong one. My computer is being stubborn on me. Sorry, y'all. All right. Let's see here. Share screen. Hopefully. Can y'all see that? Awesome. Hopefully it's
Yes,
not.
indeed.
So that is just kind of a quick tidbit of what it looks like. So there's the year fist in there, and how do I pull back, zoom back up? And all different types of things. Screen sharing, stop sharing. There we go. So that kind of encapsulates all that we have to offer. You know, there's a dance in there that you saw our facility. There was those 30-day fists where everyone was swarming and hugging them, and then the year fist. I've always struggled being able to put it into words, because when you walk into the facility here, it's a feeling, you know, it brings this type of, it's a vibe, you know, where everybody knows that this is kind of a safe place for everyone to come and let their walls down and really work on themselves and work through whatever's going on in their life. So yeah, do y'all have any questions?
Yeah, Mike, are all of your staff people pretty much in recovery?
Yes. Yep. Our whole staff's in recovery.
Is that a requirement?
Requirement, no. The idea is, and for me coming in, having somebody that could relate to me on a certain level helps me out a lot. So it's kind of our way of thinking is, in the beginning, and could relate to, we help that process. So it's not a requirement by any means, but it's just kind of how everything's unfolded, I guess. And there's a lot of kids even currently in FullCircle, Georgia, that are wanting to do this and give back and make this their life, because it's a calling for sure.
My question is that we FullCircle, Georgia. So you have FullCircle, I guess, chapters, for lack of any word, in places other than Forsyth County.
Correct. Yep. So
how many parts of the state do you cover at this point?
Just one in Georgia.
And that's Forsyth County?
That's in Forsyth, correct.
Cool.
Yep. So we currently do service a lot of families that are out of Forsyth, because there just isn't much in the North Georgia area. So, you know, we have families driving from the perimeter, driving from Gainesville, all the way through Buford, Canton, up through Gwinnett, Hall, all of it. I mean, families that are driving 45 to an hour, 4 nights a week for the services.
Wow. So do you have these people, how do these people hear about you? For example, are there those that may have been referred by a court?
There's a handful from Forsyth County courts in the accountability court and the drug court that have heard about us that way. A lot of it is word of mouth, I would say. I think the biggest way people hear about us is our parent group. So our parent support network. You know, they'll somebody will confide in them that, hey, my son's struggling, I don't know what's going on, and so they're like, hey, well, I heard about FullCircle. It's a lot of word of mouth like that, and kind of doing what I'm doing right now and just getting the name out. But I would say primarily word of mouth, and then even the kids, with social media nowadays, a lot of them kind of own, like, no, my life's changed and this is something that I'm a part of and that I own. So they're posting on their social media, and sometimes kids will reach out to them like, hey, I'm struggling and I don't know what to do. And they're like, hey, call Mike, call the staff here. And
So I'm sorry. Yeah.
No,
and so FullCircle originally started in Phoenix, Arizona.
Correct.
And how many other states besides Arizona and Georgia has FullCircle expanded to? And has it, for that matter, expanded across the borders?
There's only 4 total. So there's one in Phoenix, there's one in Denver, there's one in Kansas City, and then there's one here. And we're the newest.
Wow. And is FullCircle a spiritual, religious, Christian-based type organization?
It's 12-step based. The 12 steps by nature have a higher power. It's a God of your understanding. FullCircle started by a Catholic priest. His name's Father John. But we don't preach or teach anything from any sect or religion. But by nature, It has that higher power component, that God piece. A big thing is a God of your understanding. So
right. And I'm sorry, Ron.
Do you keep any, Mike? Do you keep any stats on your success rate for all your participants?
You took the words out of my mouth.
Yes. So I'm still doing the numbers for 2021. We, as a nationwide program, we're at 66% success rate at completion of that 90-day commitment, maintain the sobriety a year later, which 66% is a huge, huge number. So we're really, really proud of that number. And then we did a side study on with parent involvement, which is why we require it. We did it a couple of years back, and it increased the kids' success rate 35% with parent involvement, that they maintained sobriety a year later. So that's a big piece on why we require that parent involvement, because if the environment doesn't change, the kids' chances of changing are drop drastically. So that's why we work hand in hand. We work with the family, we work with the kid, we work with anybody. We do sibling meetings now. We started that not too long ago. So we're able to do kind of help loving on the siblings and help them understand what's going on with their loved one and giving them tools. So that's been really, really cool. Because I come from a family of addiction. I wish I had that as a teen. So that's been really, really cool. We just launched that.
Let me make sure I got the numbers right, Michael. So 66% who make 90 days make it a full year sober. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And then it's a 35% increased rate if their families are involved.
Yeah, that brings it to, I forget the exact number, but we broke that 66 down with parent involvement, and it was something like 30% of kids, something around that, are successful.
So in other words, if the teen's family is involved, they have a much higher chance of being more successful likely through the program.
Yeah. Correct. Yep. Maintaining sobriety at a year sober, which is.
So what is the minimum age, or what's the youngest age that people have come into the program?
I've seen 13. So we service 13 to 25.
Wow.
13.
So you do young adults as well.
Yep. I would say the average age that we have here in FullCircle, Georgia, is about 16 to 17 years old right now. So.
And I'm sorry.
we're getting into the school. So I work a lot with the Forsyth County Drug Awareness Council, and we're working on getting into the schools and trying to do more preventative work. FullCircle as a whole is preventative by nature, since we're kind of capturing those young adults before, you know, they lose the house, the wife, the car, the kid, you know, what you think of typical addiction. We're kind of catching it earlier on.
Right.
So we're trying to get into the schools right now.
So in other words, you'd be more proactive as opposed to, like, say you've hit rock bottom and you go to, for instance,
No longer bound.
Yeah, No Longer Bound, which is an adult male program for recovery. And of course, they're Christian based, of course, but they're a program for basically people who've hit rock bottom.
Yep. A lot of the kids do come in willing. You know, we do get the handful of unwilling kids that families take here, and that environment that I was talking about, you know, sometimes they'll come in and they'll be like, okay, cool. Well, I've got to be involved in a program of recovery. This seems like the best kind of option. I'm surrounded by kids my age. I'm having fun and kind of inspired to be sober instead of gloom, is kind of the whole idea. But yeah, it's kind of catching it before the rock bottom. My way of thinking that I always heard of with rock bottom is it's where you stop digging. You know, it doesn't need to be, everyone's rock bottom's a little different. So
Right.
yeah.
So how many of these kids may have had run-ins with the law before coming?
We just started running that statistic. I don't have it on hand. I would say roughly, and this is going to be just a rough what I've seen. I'd say over 50% have some level of run-in with probation. So we work hand in hand with Gateway and Academy as well. It's the alternative school out of Forsyth County. And so the kids that go to at least Gateway had some run-in at their school with possession of drugs, being high on campus, something like that. So a lot of the times, if you get caught at school too, since there's resource officers there, you're catching a charge too. So that's a lot of the kids that we're dealing with have some level of charges.
Wow, sounds like you're doing some real good work there, Mike.
Appreciate it, sir. Appreciate it.
And so you live here in Forsyth County now?
Correct. Yep.
Well, fantastic. Well, welcome to Forsyth County, and we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come speak to us. And I will open up the floor to any further questions, and if not, I will stop the recording. Any further questions for Mike?
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
You say that you have 13 to 25-year-olds. Are they separated in age groups?
Sometimes we'll take the 18 plus and do separate.
Yeah.
Some of the things are combined. If there's a level of inappropriate for the program, because that's my number one priority is the safety, especially dealing with adolescents. If they're inappropriate for the program, we help at least connect them to a different program. So not everything's separate, but we do separate some of the things.
Okay.
Great question.
Well, again, Mike, thank you very much. And on behalf of the Forsyth County Lions Club, we appreciate you taking your time to talk to us, time out of your busy schedule. We wish you very well, and we will try to get this up on YouTube so we can share this with the members who couldn't be here tonight, and if you don't mind, sharing it with the general public.
That sounds great to me. I really appreciate y'all having me, and thank you for letting me come and talk about it.
Well, thank you again. Mike.